I mean, and then I think you need to have the talk about McDermott. I get it. He got you through the DeMar Hamlin thing. I get it. He got you through the snowstorm when you had to go play in Detroit. I get it. He's a nice guy. I'm a McDermott fan. I'm just saying, when's it going to pay off where he at least gets to a Super Bowl?
I'm gambling again.
On this episode of Bustin' Chops and Calling Shots, we talk all things divisional weekend. Chiefs beat the Jags with a hobbled Mahomes. Looking forward to next weekend. How is that ankle going to heal for him? We talk about that a little bit. The Eagles crush the Giants. Bengals dominate the Bills in the snow. And the 49ers edge out the Cowboys. We talk a little bit about the conference championship games and what to expect. And John gives you some tips in his betting corner.
You want to bet? I don't bet. What do you mean you don't bet? I mean, I don't bet.
You're listening to Bustin' Chops and Calling Shots.
All right, welcome to the show, everybody. It was an interesting weekend of football, to say the least. John Boy, how you doing?
Well, we got Dallas covered the teasers and the under covered. So after all the smoke and the fire, though it wasn't impressive, and I'm not very happy, we still picked up 2 games in football. Great 4-0 Friday night. And then Saturday we got absolutely blitzed in college hoops. But, you know, that's how it goes sometimes, man. You know, I'm not a magician.
You haven't had a bad college hoops day like that, though, in a very long time. I mean, really.
What
college
was that?
Hoops has been, I said you haven't had a bad college hoops day like that in a very long time. Like, we've been very good with college hoops.
No.
It's really the first, like, ugly college hoops day we've had.
Yeah, I mean, I might have spoke it into existence just because, you know, I'd said on the show the other night, you know, just wait till I have an 0-6 Saturday, and I was close. We were 2-6-2 in hoops.
I tell you all the time, you gotta stop saying shit like that. Like, it doesn't.
Well,
help.
you know, because here's why is because, you know, we do that and then we go 4-0, and this is really important. It's the most important thing. And there's a guy that I really respect. He doesn't pick a whole lot of winners, but he is a stand-up guy. His name's Steve Fezzik out in Vegas. And he tweeted out something, and I meant to share it and I didn't. But it really, there's so much truth behind it. 90% of people either on social media or on TV or that sell picks, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
90% of them don't bet. And if they do bet, half the stuff they give out, they don't bet.
Because, yeah, I could see that. That makes sense.
I mean, there's a lot of sleaze. Like, everybody wants to talk sports because they love it, but people can make money off of it. Like, as a professional bettor, to turn just a little bit of profit, you got to be at like 55%, right? It's like 55.8. And so, you know, some people may say 56, depends on how you want to cut your math up. But, you know, 2-6-2, but if you look at it, you know, I made a mistake. I played the overnight lines, which I never do. I look at them, but I don't play them. I wait till the next day. Well, personal schedule got in the way, but I wanted the guys to get the play. So I give out North Florida at 10. It closes at 11.5. Lo and behold, they lose by 11. Western Michigan, I give it out 8. It closes 8.5. We get a push where we should have had a win. Air Force, they're down 5 with, you know, a minute left. They're down 8 with 14 seconds. Why the kid fouls down 8 with 14 seconds, God only knows. And Georgia just had a bad beat on the miss there at the end. So it very easily could have been the other way. But, you know, integrity is important. And, you know, that comment Steve Fezzik made was never more true. And again, I had the girls Sunday, had the sleeper, all that jazz going on. And I tweeted out, you know, picked up the winner with North Florida and the winner with Western Michigan. And I had 2 guys, I want to call them out because kudos to them. Alec, our boy in Minneapolis, and Dave, our other guy. I don't want to give their last names or whatever, but they say, hey, John, you know, that's not the line we got. That's not the line you gave out. And it didn't dawn on me, right? Like, I'm just, okay, it closed at that. We survived. It's a win. And I went back and I said, you know what? You're right. So I went back. I retweeted out, no, made a mistake when my guys got it, when I gave it out. And I sent all my guys a text today because integrity is important. And what I also sent out the record, right? Because I think the record is extremely important. And the reason I'm going off of this is because, again, you get where I'm going. Another shout out real quick. Our man Victor, appreciate you and all your support, buddy. Brad, another guy, Todd, I'm going to butcher this name, but Anthesasios. I'm just going to call you Ant, bro. Thomas, Brian, Ryan G, my boy. We've talked before. I like him. Ben, Curtis, Darren, our boy Sheldon, Josh, Ryan V, my main man Miles, who I met in a bar in Dallas, and he probably thinks that was the greatest thing that ever happened. Another guy, Joel, that just joined us. But I want to thank those guys because they sent out a lot of texts and a lot of support back, and I really appreciate that, because what I sent out was, 13 years in a row now, over 500. And, I'm not for everybody. I don't know what, and I just want to touch on this. I'm going to get a little deep. I don't know what your goal is for gambling, right? And what you expect to achieve. And I get it. The playoffs, everything's more heightened. But you have to remember something. They're not going to pay us out more money for the playoffs or next week in the championship games or even the Super Bowl. They're not going to pay us more than they did in week 3. When you go to the window, they're going to pay you out the same amount of money. But I get it.
Absolutely.
All the focus is on the playoffs. There's not many games. But look, guys, I've said this before. The NFL, other than the NBA, is the hardest sport to beat. The NFL, why? Because the games are up all week. Everybody picks them apart. There's no real, it's hard to get an edge. The NBA is hard because, God, you don't know till 5 minutes before who the heck's playing, right? How we're 19-8 is, a testament to the work. But I just want to go through this. Major League Baseball, 196 wins, 120 losses. 76 games over, 62%. This is all since April 1st. Our calendar runs April 1st through March 31st. NHL playoffs, 27-10, plus 17 games over 500, 73%. The NBA playoffs, we were 13-4, 9 games over 500, 77%. So far on the NBA season, we're 19-8, 11 games over 500, 70.4%. College football, 117 wins, 65 losses, 52 games over for 64.3%. NHL, 42-42, 50%. And this might sound stupid, but I'm the most proud of that one than all of them because we started 5-19 for God's sakes.
Yeah, I told you it would come back around. No reason to panic.
College hoops. After Saturday's debacle, I didn't give out anything Sunday. I just let the football ride. College hoops, 72 wins, 47 losses, 3 pushes, 25 games over 500 for 60.5%. The NFL, all right. And let me fix this real quick. Well, this was going into today. We picked up 2 games, right? But this isn't the official, right? So we would have been 4-2, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So 124 wins, 65 losses, right? 59 games over 500. Mm-hmm. All right. So hold on. 124.
You're doing math. That's scary.
Yeah. Well, I didn't have this one updated. All right. So going back, NFL, 124 wins, 65 losses, 59 games over for 66.6%. Think about that.
Yeah.
You total it all up now, 610 wins, 361 losses, 249 games over 500. 249 games over 500 since April freaking 1st. 64.1%. If you can't make money with me, there's probably a 95% chance you never are. Now, here's where integrity and full disclosure comes in, and I say it and I say it. And there's a couple guys I'm helping right now that have a small stack. Well, I didn't help them very much Saturday, but I'm trying to work with people, and I sent this out. I can do just fine betting on my own, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's goals and things I want to accomplish. So that's why I'm getting guys. Here's the other part of it. Not just me. I really get a thrill out of helping people, right?
I mean, that's the whole reason
I want every player I want every player I have to be in the position that the Dirty Dozen are in, which it's a minimum $100K a year they make off me. And people are like, you're blowing smoke. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. Listen. Just listen. Okay? If you were $100 better, just 100, which is peanuts, folks, just in case you're inquiring and want to know, you made somewhere 23 to 25K so far after you take the juice out. It can easily be done, but there is a process. And it was never more true from Friday to Saturday to even today, where, Dallas had every opportunity. Our only loss should have been the Bills money line in that parlay.
True.
We should have went 5-1 and picked up 4 units. Dallas had every opportunity. 2 picks. Diggs drops an interception. If that score stays to where it should have been, it would have been a 4-point game. We had plus 4.5. We win everything, right?
Yep.
So when you look at it from Friday 4-0 to Saturday, just a disaster, to bad beats both Saturday and Sunday, it's when I say it's like the stock market, it really is. The only difference is you're not watching stupid numbers on a board that's not interesting unless you're a Wall Street junkie or a financial advisor.
It's kind of interesting.
You get to actually sit in front of the TV. You get to sit in front of the TV on something you love and something you feel because you've watched it or played it your whole life. Football, basketball, baseball, hockey. You've watched this stuff for years. 99% of guys are all about sports. Just like most women now, 60% of women are all about sports. 70% of women love football and are betting on it. Mm-hmm. So it's in front of your eyes and it's a big thing, and you look forward to it, and it's just so magnified. Well, what you don't realize is it's a grind. It is a grind. I did not get to be, what did we say here?
249.
Hamster gets stuck.
Yeah, it does.
204, 13 years in a row of 100, at least 150, and I'm 249. Do you understand how hard that is? And I don't need sympathy. I don't need pound the back. But again, I do appreciate the guys like Alec and David and Victor and Ryan G and Ryan V and Cameron and Miles and all the great guys. We got some hella good guys. And they're
Brett
the true guys because they're like, man,
Michael and Todd. Like, we've got some really, really
Michael,
great guys.
Michael D, he's my guy. And they're like, look, we're in it. We've seen it. But hey, it happens.
Yeah.
But they understand. They figured it out. Okay. This week hadn't been good. Maybe the last month hasn't been the greatest. But over the course of 12 months, I'm going to make you a lot of money. Now, here's what has to happen. You got to be balled in. Right? Mm-hmm. You have to be balled in. And what does that mean? If you want to hop on me for a week or a month, you're looking for lightning in a bottle. But if you hop on the week like this week, right? You're not going to remember 4-0. You're going to remember Saturday. Yep. And then you're going to say the guys are schmuck.
Yeah, weekly's
and you really have no idea.
Weekly's not a great it's not a great representation. We throw the weekly package out there really because we're throwing it out as a lower price. Sometimes the monthly is just a little more than people want to go in one one purchase, but really,
but in the long run,
the monthly's going to save
in the
you
long
money.
run, in the long run, the weekly costs more than anything, and there's a reason for it, because you're looking for lightning in a bottle. And some of the guys I talked to, I said, look, I don't want guys that are going to be around for a week, 2 weeks, a month, 3 months. I want guys that are years, because if you're with me for years, you're going to get the value of it. But again, at the best way I can put it is it's like the stock market. One day it's up, 3 days in a row it's down. I mean, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, we definitely beat the stock market since April 1st.
Yeah, well, and that's why you have to have a guy like me, because as that quote that Steve Fezzik had, most of these jokers out here, they're just throwing stuff out here. Like, I get it. Sex sells. It intrigues me. But,
Good
you
God.
got these chicks out there throwing these pics out in their bikinis and all. Look, everybody's just messing with everybody. ESPN, I see loser after loser after loser.
They're awful.
So,
Awful.
and I'm not knocking anybody. I'm just saying I didn't sleep Saturday. Didn't sleep last night. And not because I had 4, 7, 8-year-old girls on a slumber party up till 1:30 in the morning. Even after they went to bed, I was going back through the games we picked. Why did I lose them? What did I not see? Why? Because I had hundreds on all of them. Hundreds. Today I had thousands on games. Okay? So when I lose, you lose. It's not a game. It's not a gimmick. It's not funny to me. I don't care about taking somebody's money and just, oh, well, got another $100 from that guy this week. No, when I lose, you lose. When you lose, I lose. We're in it together. But you have got to stick with the plan and the process, because it is a grind, folks. It's just like baseball. Baseball's my favorite. I make more money than everything, that and college hoops, but it is a grind. It is not an easy process. It's just like college hoops. When everybody bets, guess what? March Madness. When do I get on a roll? March Madness. Right now, I'm on a roll. I had a bad Saturday. I tried to do a good thing. And that's saying gamblers usually have the best of intentions. I tried to do a good thing. I'm not going to be available Saturday morning. Let me do the work tonight. And what I do, I ended up screwing us. Right? So there's a process and there's a way. There's a reason why I do what I do. There's a reason why I study what I study. And you can say, well, if you've been great all year, what happened in the NFL this week? Look, I don't regret one bet I made.
No,
the books lost this week. Okay?
Yep.
The whole world had Philly. The whole world had the teaser. Eagles, Chiefs, money parlay. Chiefs, Eagles, Niners, 49ers, Chiefs. Everybody was slamming the Bengals, both sharps and public.
Yep.
And the line kept moving in the Bengals' favor instead of the Bills' favor. That's reverse line movement. That's a solid key. You don't follow it. You go the other way. So I put the Bills in the money line parlay, even though we had the Bengals in the teasers. And look, everybody had the Niners. It closed 69% of the bets and money on the Niners.
Yeah.
And Dallas had every opportunity. It just didn't work out. Okay, so if you want to be, sorry, I'm almost done. If you want to be a square and follow that, it worked out this week for you. Okay? But it's not going to work out like that week to week. It's just not. Okay? And again, the playoffs are more magnified than everything. And so now what do we have? Now we have a phenomenal championship game Sunday. You got the two best teams that made it to both games all year long in both conferences. Can we agree on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd agree
I mean,
with
the Niners and Eagles have clearly all year long been the two best teams in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's a bunch of hype around Buffalo, but Buffalo will never win a Super Bowl with McDermott and Allen together, or much less get to one. So you got the red hot Bengals and the Chiefs, the two teams that have been the clear best and have the two best quarterbacks in the game. Because I think now we can finally start having the discussion that the best quarterback in the NFL is a coin flip between Mahomes and Burrow, and take Josh Allen out of that conversation.
Yeah,
and
still
I think my other comment that Trevor Lawrence was going to pass Josh Allen, I think now you see where I'm coming from. But you have two games that are coin flip games.
Yeah.
I mean, the lines are both like -2.
Mm-hmm.
All right, on the opening. It's a coin flip. So, again, let's focus on hockey, which we've been red hot. Let's focus on college hoops. Yeah, I have a lean already in the football games. I want to see how the line moves. The work at this point, there's not a whole lot of work to put in, but it's more of watching the market. Again, you have to be bought into the process and understand what we're trying to do, and you have to have a goal. And you have to say, I'm not trying to put money into my account every week to bet with, and I'm not taking money out. I'm trying to let it grow, right? And like I say, most all of you have my number now because we had CRM issues, so that's why I'm texting everything out.
Yeah,
so
now
you
went
got
down
full
over the weekend. So
yeah, you have full exposure to me. I'm here trying to send out a gazillion text messages to everybody, and I mean, as if I didn't have enough on my plate trying to pick winners. Now I got all this, but you know what? It's good because I've gotten to interact with the guys.
Yeah,
and it made me realize, okay, no matter what kind of scale we get on, I still got to be in contact with these guys weekly somehow. Right now, you're going to get me every day because that's how you're going to get the plays. But yeah, just you can't live and die with every day, guys. And like Steve Fezzik said, I just saw that quote. He's right. Most of these jokers aren't even betting. I'm betting a ton, and more importantly, y'all are betting on me to make you money. Okay. So I don't take it very lightly. I don't run when I have a bad day. When I put something, and a huge shout out to Alec and David keeping that straight, right? And that should just go show I went back and made it right, okay? Mm-hmm. But integrity is important, and making people money is important to me, and doing it the right way. But you got to realize I'm not a superhuman. Like I'm a human being too, right? All I can tell you is we're going to be at least 150. I've probably spoiled everybody with this 249 Jazz, and we'll probably end up finishing 270 over 500, which is just, I mean, if I tell people that, they laugh. Nobody's going to believe that. Nobody. So, but look, again, I thank you, and I apologize for this weekend, but moving forward, we'll just keep doing what we do. It's a grind. Sorry, I got on a long tangent there.
Good God, that's the understatement of the year. Yeah, you did. Yeah, and we apologize over the weekend. Obviously, text and email notifications weren't going out like they had been. We had some issues with CRM. Hopefully, that'll be fixed quickly. So, apologies for that. What you're going to get with us is we're going to be 100% transparent. I think we've proved that to everyone by now. Rough weekend, but we'll get back on it tomorrow and have a good week. And, you know, it's a marathon. We talk about this a lot. It's not a sprint. You're looking at this over the course of a full year. So got to take that into consideration. Football this weekend. I mean, if you would have told me going into this, and obviously we're going to move in here and break down some games. If you would have told me that the Bills would have got blown out at home, I would have said you were crazy. If you said the Giants and Eagles would have been that lopsided, I never would have saw that. It was a weird weekend in football, and you're going to have that sometimes. Those two games, I did not see that coming. I thought Bills-Bengals was going to be a nail-biter come down to the last drive, but the Bills seemed like they never got off the bus. I think for me, Patrick Mahomes still the best quarterback in football. Burrow is now second over Allen. Josh Allen, and especially towards the second half of the year, a lot of uncharacteristic picks from him. Didn't look like he was comfortable at all. Allen had kind of started to slip there, and we questioned that on a couple different episodes of, you know, what's going on with Josh Allen. He did not have a good game today at all, for sure.
Well, it's not just him; it's the coaching, and
that defense is.
I like McDermott,
not good,
but McDermott, and again, you can't group him in the same thing with Todd Bowles. But what I'm about to say, it's the same. If you're a defensive head coach, what should be the strength of your team?
Your defense.
Your defense. And the Bills' defense has been porous the whole time McDermott has been there.
Yeah.
And on the flip side of it,
That's probably
you
the
have
worst year
Josh
for him.
Allen. Yeah. On the flip side, you have Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Dustin Knox is a top 10 tight end. Davis. They got weapons. It's
They
not
do.
for like. But, I mean, at this point, you have to really look at them and say the refusal to run the football has killed them. And, Buffalo doesn't have a huge payroll, right? They were in the McCaffrey sweepstakes and didn't seal the deal. Now, kudos to them. They went out, got Von Miller. And you know what? If Von Miller doesn't go down, maybe the defense looks different because he is that great. I mean, Von Miller's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yes, he is.
But on the other side of it, you can't rely on one guy. I watched Kansas City growing up. I watched Kansas City as a kid try to do that. Oh, Derek Thomas and Neil Smith and Dale Carter on the defense will get us there. Yeah, all three of them should be in the Hall of Fame. But what are you doing on offense? Well, it's the exact opposite. The Bills' defense is porous. They have no semblance of a running game, and the play calling is awful. And, I don't understand the psyche of these owners and general managers. Because the greatest, when you're looking for something, whether it's football, an organization, even what we're doing, right? Looking at, okay, we want to try to build our brand and how many people can we help, but it's going to take hands and bodies, employees, it's going to take people down the road. You have to look for people with a track record, just like that's why you should want me over everybody else. I just gave you the record, right? How people can interview Ken Dorsey and consider him for a head coaching job. First of all, okay, Brian Dable's been an assistant with the Patriots and OC. Brian Dable earned his spot.
He did.
I gave him a little bit of heck about his taco meat hanging out and his Cuban cigars because he blew it Saturday. But he really did do a great job. Ken Dorsey got handed Brian Dable's offense this year. That's why they looked good. It wasn't because of anything Ken Dorsey damn did.
No.
So after
And
today,
that offense
you should
looked
look at
awful today.
And they're talking about him getting interviews. Why? Kellen Moore. Look, the Dallas Cowboys had every opportunity. The one thing you can't do with a great defense is sit back there as a lame duck. They should have moved the pocket. They didn't move the pocket. When Dak did take off, he was successful, but it's like he wanted to stand back there and prove he's Troy Aikman. Dak, you're not. You're not a great pocket passer. I wish everybody would stop trying to prove that they're this great pocket passer. Yes, Lamar Jackson has worked on his game. He's great. But guess what? He's elite when he gets outside the pocket and throws the ball. Yeah. Same thing with Mahomes. Yeah, he does good in the pocket, but he's elite when he's moving. Josh Allen, it's like, oh, I need to stay in the pocket and not throw a pick because everybody's talked about me this week. Bull crap. Get outside the pocket. Like, that's what makes you what you are. And so how Kellen Moore, you put up 12 points in the NFC Championship game, that's what you want as a head coach? Like, that's what you want. Yeah. So we're going to interview Kellen Moore, but we're going to say, you know what? I don't need to interview Eric Bieniemy, even though they went right down the field with Chad Henne. I'd rather have 12-point Kellen Moore that's only won one playoff game. That sounds like a good idea. I mean, again, people with money are the stupidest people, I feel like. It's like they forget how they got all that money. And seriously, they got all that money because they were successful business people. But maybe once you get to a certain point where you have such an abundance of money, you lose your ever-living mind.
I mean, Jerry Jones. Yeah, maybe that's what did it for Jerry.
Kellen Moore and Ken Dorsey, who in the world is considering them? The next thing you know, they're going to want to hire the offensive coordinator of the Bengals. Look, he's got Burrow and Jamar Chase. I'll go somewhere else. Yeah. All right. I mean, the Bengals are a juggernaut, and they got an offensive mind head coach. So how much, not to discredit the offensive coordinator, but how much is he really doing? Okay. Now, if you want to go out there and hire Dan Quinn or D'Amico Ryans, even though I think it should be an offensive head coach, but I think both of those guys on the defensive side should be considered. But I just, again, to talk about Buffalo and Dallas, Ken Dorsey and Kellen Moore, if you're a general manager and hire them, just know you're getting fired in 3 years.
Probably. All right. Man, you're on one tonight. You're getting after it.
Well, I just don't understand. I just don't understand. I mean, I just don't understand.
Feels like you had a lot of pent up things to say.
Well, and then Buffalo, right? Again, I mean, they're just not going to get it done. They are a product of being in the AFC East. But let me tell you something. Miami's coming. Don't let the Jets get a quarterback. Jets are a quarterback away from being a really big contender.
Their defense is very good. We've talked about that.
Belichick. If Kingsbury ends up coming to New England when he's done with his Chico over there in Thailand, Kingsbury could be there a long time. I'm a Kingsbury believer, man. He could be the OC, step in as the head coach. So nothing is promised. I'm just saying, if you're Buffalo, I think you really need to evaluate. We're about to be under cap hell, right? Because once you pay the quarterback, that's what happens. And you got these pieces like, and then I think you need to have the talk about McDermott. I get it. He got you through the DeMar Hamlin thing. I get it. He got you through the snowstorm when you had to go play in Detroit. I get it. He's a nice guy. I'm a McDermott fan. I'm just saying, when's it going to pay off where he at least gets to a Super Bowl? Because they've been 3 years now. I mean, how much longer are you going to let it go?
Yeah.
And that defense,
you got to think they're going to have to play
some serious help.
Yeah. I mean, and they got to go through, obviously, the Chiefs with Mahomes and Cincinnati with Burrow now. Like the Bills, you kind of start to wonder, have they kind of missed their window a little bit to get there?
Well, you just said best. Mahomes and Burrow, 2 first ballot Hall of Famers. But look, son, Trevor Lawrence and the Jags are coming.
Yep.
Indy, they're a real player if they were to get a Lamar. Miami, they're coming.
Yep.
The Chargers, whenever they fire Staley and get a coach that's older than 18, they'll be coming. Mm-hmm. If the Jets get a quarterback, they're a coming. Like, I think we look at it and we say, oh, they got Josh Allen. They're a contender every year. Yeah, they're a contender to make the playoffs. Doesn't mean Super Bowls. Yep. Again, folks, Dan Marino got to a Super Bowl his rookie year, didn't get back. Right? So
it's hard
just
to get to
because
the Super Bowl.
You're a great quarterback. Yeah, I mean, Warren Moon is still, in my eyes, a top 10 quarterback all time. If you really looked at his stats and really watched him play,
he was amazing.
I mean, the guy had his best shot, and Buffalo pulls off a miracle. Then he gets the 1 seed the following year, and Joe Montana with the Chiefs has a miraculous comeback. Like, I mean, it's not promised. Steve Young, as great as he was, got to 1 Super Bowl. Why? Because he kept running to Dallas. You know what I mean? Brett Favre could have been in another 2 with the Packers. He kept running to Aikman and Young. I mean, and that's really what the AFC is like. It's like that mid-90s chop with when you really started watching football as a kid, where the NFC had Favre, Young, and Aikman. I mean, you're going to have to get through at least 1, if not 2 of them to even get to the freaking Super Bowl.
Yep. Yeah, it's very hard, and we talk about this all the time, right? There's a handful of Super Bowl winning quarterbacks. There's a handful of Super Bowl winning coaches. And so that makes it even more difficult. And Buffalo kind of has had their chances the last couple years. Kansas City has been the team that's kind of knocked them out of contention here. But yeah, now with Cincinnati coming, with Miami, a lot of teams are getting better, and Buffalo they showed, especially in the second half of this year and in the game today, they're struggling a little bit. So they're going to have to make some changes in the offseason to be in a position to really make a run, and it just makes you wonder, can they get there? It's tough to get to the Super Bowl. It's not easy.
Do you think we'll end up looking back? Burrow's on TV right now. He's just a beast, dude. Do you think we'll end up looking back one day and saying the Bills' best shot to get to a Super Bowl got ripped away from them because of a defensive breakdown with 13 seconds left to Pat Mahomes?
I mean, yeah, maybe. I mean, really.
I mean, I know, and again, I'm not beating on Buffalo. You know, growing up as a kid, I used to love watching Kelly and Reed and James Lofton and Don Beebe and Steve Tasker and Thurman Thomas, like Cornelius Benton, Daryl Talley, Bruce Smith. Like,
yep.
The Bills and Chiefs were my AFC teams back in the day. I had a Bills book bag in second grade, even though I was a Skins fan. It was still one of the greatest Super Bowls for me as a kid, other than Packers Broncos, was Redskins Bills, because at the time, I mean, those were my teams. I just wonder if we look back and we'll say the Bills' best shot to get to a Super Bowl, again, a defensive head coach was on a defensive breakdown when they had the game won against Kansas City.
I think it was, obviously it's partly a defensive breakdown, and then, I mean, you're going to call me a homer, but Mahomes just has that, like, he's got that little bit extra that he can. I mean, I remember sitting in the stands, 13 seconds left, and feeling oddly calm that we still got enough time for Mahomes to get us there. He's got that little bit extra, and we talk about this with championship players. You talk about it with Michael Jordan. You talk about it with Joe Montana. These players that just can find that extra gear when they need to, can find and dig deep for that little extra. And that is the difference between hoisting championship trophies and not, is that little bit extra that you can dig deep and find. And so I think that obviously plays a part of it.
No, you're right. That's a great statement on your part. But just full disclosure, you are a homer. But I will say this.
Very
Mahomes'
fortunate to get to
ankle
watch
sprain,
one of the best quarterbacks.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
you're very fortunate. Because you're going to get to see some over the next 10, 12 years that most people don't get to. But I will say this, high ankle sprain, he's in a boot.
Not in a boot. So no boot after the game.
He's in a boot now. After the MRI, he's in a boot. They're going to 90% ain't going to get it done. So he's going to have to be 100. Because listen,
nobody's 100 at this point in the season. Nobody.
He's going to have to be 100 because I'm telling you, and I know, again, you're a homer.
No,
but if you were,
this is going to be a very difficult game.
But there isn't a soul alive with a straight face that can say Mahomes is way better than, or even a little bit better. I mean, it's a dead heat with him and Joe Burrow right now.
No, it's not.
Joe Burrow looks like Joe Montana with a cannon.
No, I'm not.
You didn't get to see Montana. You didn't get to see Montana. I did. Joe Burrow is cool, calm, pick you apart with a cannon.
Yeah, and they said that about Josh Allen.
The Kansas City Chiefs are going to have to bring their A game.
Oh, absolutely.
Because and we can't go with the theory of, well, the Chiefs are due, right? Because the Bengals have beat them 3 times, all by 3 points, so it's going to be a close game. But Mahomes is going to have to play well. And look, if the Chiefs learned anything, and this came from you hit the nail on the head when you texted me during the games today. Chiefs are going to have to run the football.
It was so funny. I was sitting at the game. Mahomes goes out. He gets hurt. And Chiefs fans are just losing their mind. And I was like, honestly, guys, I talked to multiple people in the stands trying to calm grown men down. Honestly, this is not the worst thing for the Chiefs right now because it's going to force them to run the football. And what did they do? They ran the football for almost 150 yards, and they ran it well. Pacheco ran all over Jacksonville. 12 carries, 96 yards. The Chiefs can beat the Bengals, but whether Mahomes is healthy, 100% healthy or not, the Chiefs need to run it down Cincinnati's throat until they prove they can stop it. Protect your quarterback, run the football, control the clock, get out of there with a win. Even if it's an ugly 3-point win, get out of there with a win, have a healthy Mahomes if you can get to the Super Bowl. But they need to do the same thing. Look, Mahomes is not going to be 100% next weekend. You may get 90. High ankle sprain. There's some encouraging reports out of they expected his ankle to swell up like a balloon overnight. When he came in for the MRI this morning, there was very little swelling in the ankle. So good thing. Hopefully that trend continues. But he's not going to be 100%. You're probably going to get 90. So he's going to need some help. He can't run around and scramble like he does. I mean, he came in the second half. He drove him down there on 1 foot, hobbled, and threw a touchdown pass because he's filthy. He just is. Even on 1 foot, he's
great.
filthy.
He's
but
great.
A 1 foot Mahomes is not going to beat Cincinnati on his own.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. The other thing is, if we look at the stat line at the end of this game, and it says Mahomes has thrown more than 35, 36 passes, just like the Dallas one,
Chiefs lost.
The Chiefs will have lost the game. I don't even need to look at the score. Okay. The Chiefs have got and this is why I'm so intrigued. The Chiefs they're always in the position of having the best player on the field with Pat Mahomes. The Chiefs are always in that. So guess what? They get to play with not a care in the world. Andy Reid can call whatever play. Eric Bieniemy can call whatever play. The defense can take chances with Spags no matter how they want, because the defense knows, well, as long as we don't give up 30, we can give up 27, 28. We'll still win because Pat Mahomes is our quarterback. It's such a luxury that I don't think people understand.
Yeah.
If you play that way, you will lose Sunday.
Yep.
Because Joe Burrow is not the guy to play with. They have, in my opinion, him and Mahomes, there's no difference. They're 1B, 1A. One's not better than the other. In the second, they have, either Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase, take your picks, the best receiver in the game. And they got Chase. And on top of Chase, Higgins, Boyd, Hurst, Joe Mixon, first of all, they got to take the running game of Cincinnati's away. If Burrow is able to run play action, it's going to be a long day because they can't cover the Bengal receivers. So they got to take away something, right?
Right.
And here's the other thing. The Chiefs can't go out there and play zone. And you can't play one-on-one with Chase, because if you play one-on-one, he's going to burn you, which he has every time y'all have played. And you can't go zone because he's going to go sit in the hole and Burrow's going to pick you apart. They got a blitz, which I don't know why Buffalo didn't do that today. You need to have two guys on Chase, and you need to blitz.
To think with Cincinnati, you had an injured offensive line. The game plan for that Bills defense should have been put as much pressure on Joe Burrow as you can. Because look what the Rams did that in the Super Bowl, and they hoisted a Lombardi. They put as much pressure on Burrow as they could. And that is the difference maker when you play Cincinnati. You have got to pressure them, and you have got to get home. You've got to pressure Burrow. Now, the last thing you want to do against the Chiefs with Mahomes, you don't want to rush him all that much because he picks you apart when you blitz him. So, but with Burrow, you have to blitz him. You have to get home. Otherwise, he's going to pick you apart.
See, I disagree on the Mahomes thing, and here's why. It doesn't matter if it's Brady, Troy Aikman, Joe Montana, Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow. Doesn't matter. Steve Young. You have got to get home. Okay? Yeah. Those quarterbacks, you might say, well, if you blitz them, they're just going to hit the slant. Well, that's why you got to have a guy, you got to sandwich the receiver, their best receiver, and then just live with the rest. But you have got to get pressure up the middle in their face. If you don't, you have no shot of beating somebody like a Mahomes or a Burrow or a Brady. You have to collapse the pocket in the middle. I understand that. Burrow and Mahomes and Allen, they can get outside and make play with their legs.
Mahomes probably not going to be able to do that this time, though.
You just got to have the ends contained, and you got to blitz up the middle. That's what they have to do. And now the Bengals had a great game plan because they just said, look, we're down offensive linemen. What's the best way to protect your offensive line? Run the football.
Yep.
Right? They don't have to deal with blitzes. They don't have to deal with pass protection schemes. They just get off the ball and move people. And that's what they did. Now, I do think that's going to be harder with the Chiefs because Chris Jones is a first ballot Hall of Famer himself. I mean, the man's a beast.
And Frank Clark has played a lot better lately too.
Frank Clark's played better. So I don't think they're going to move the Chiefs like that. But the reality is, it's going to come down to you got to get to Burrow. Mm-hmm. You can't let Chase beat you. And then on the other side, Cincinnati, we looked at and said, well, it was Huntley on the other side. Yeah. Now it's, they got to Allen. How well can that defense play? Because the secondary is playing really well. Mm-hmm. And Hendrickson and Hubbard are getting home. I just think it's going to be an interesting matchup. I think whoever wins, I think it's going to be like the 3 previous games. They've all been decided by a field goal. I expect whoever wins to be no less. But whoever runs the football the best in this game is going to win. Yep. Because that means the other quarterback has less time.
Yep. And I hope, I really do. I'll be at the game next weekend. Got my tickets. Looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a fantastic game. I think the Chiefs need to take a lesson from the game against the Jaguars. They ran the football. They ran it very effectively, almost 150 yards on the ground. If they do that again against Cincinnati, they'll win the game. If they want Mahomes to drop back 50 times, they will lose because he's not going to be 100%. You have to control the clock. You have to control the time of possession, and you have got to run the football. If the Chiefs can do that, they're on their way to another Super Bowl. I truly believe that. But if you ask Mahomes to get back there and sling it 50, 60 times on a bum ankle, you're going to have some problems. So, got to run the football.
Out of the 4 teams left, A, who do you think's playing the best? B, who do you think wins it all?
Man, the NFC for me is really a toss-up. I think both of these championship games are going to be incredible.
Yes.
We're
going to be in for a great Sunday.
Yep. I think the Eagles get it done at home. I think that's going to be a really tough ask for the 49ers to go in there. Hey, you can't take anything away. Obviously, we're going to look at the games from this weekend. Purdy played and did what he had to do to win. He didn't turn the ball over. We talked about that Dallas 49er game. It was going to be Dak versus Purdy, and who was going to make mistakes. Dak made 2 of them. But going into Philly can put up a lot of points. I think they're going to be able to score against that 49er defense. Maybe not at will like they did against the Giants, but they're going to be able to put up points. And Hurts getting out of the pocket, moving around, that's really, really hard to deal with. I think the Eagles get it done. I think if Mahomes can come in somewhere 90, 95% and they run the football, I think the Chiefs go. I think it's Chiefs-Eagles.
So it's going to be the Andy Reid Bowl, in your opinion?
That and the Kelsey brothers are going to be playing on opposite sides because Jason Kelsey's for the Eagles. Travis plays for the Chiefs.
Oh, yeah.
So I think the Chiefs, if they can get past Cincinnati, win it all again. But it's really going to, I think the hardest game that the Chiefs have left is the Bengals. And if they can get past Cincinnati, I think they can get it done.
Before we recap these games real quick, because we said we were going to keep this episode shorter, but I wanted to talk to our winners there, and I got a little long-winded.
Yeah, you got on your soapbox a little bit.
D'Amico Ryans. Texans got to hire him, right?
Yeah, hey, they've reached out and asked for to be able to interview Sean Payton. So,
but D'Amico Ryans, he's an ex-Texan player.
Yeah,
I do all pro with the Texans.
Now thinking about it, especially after we talked about this, I do think the Texans is an interesting landing spot for Sean Payton. You get a pick. You get to pick whatever quarterback you want in the draft to build around. You got a lot of young talent there. And look at the Texans this year. Everybody's going to give them a lot of shit, but they were in every game they played pretty much. Like, it's not like they were getting blown out.
You're probably going to have to give up 2 first-round picks to get Sean Payton, right?
I think what the Saints are asking for is 1 first round and then a late round pick. Asking for 1 first. Okay. So 1 first for Peyton.
Well, if you're Houston, you don't give away the number 2 pick for him.
No. So, but that would be an intrigue just because high draft pick. He can pick his quarterback. He can build around the guy he wants. may not be the worst landing spot for Peyton. And we know he loves Texas. It's interesting. It really is.
So when is Denver just going to swallow their pride and hire Frank Reich?
I don't know. I mean, I'm surprised. No, you haven't really heard anything about any hires. Sadly, I don't think Eric Bieniemy.
And when's Carolina just going to say? Carolina just say, Steve Wilkes, come on back.
I have no idea what the hell Carolina's doing. Wilkes should have been the guy anyway. But you know, teams do stupid shit all the time, so I can't say I'm surprised. But who do you think wins? So before we start breaking down the games from this weekend, obviously we're going to look ahead to the 2 conference championships.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that right now.
Well, you made me do it.
I mean, yeah, but it's different because I don't want I don't want our players to put stuff in early. I just
all right.
I just want to wait. I just was interested in yours.
Yeah, I think it's Chiefs, Eagles. I could see it being Chiefs, 49ers. I do think it's.
Oh, and here was my second question. Sorry. If the Niners lose, give me the situation now. What the deal is with Brady and the Niners, whether they lose or they win.
If they win and they go to the Super Bowl, I don't think there's any shot Purdy's not your quarterback. And I've heard some conflicting reports. So I've heard that the 49ers may be interested in going after Brady in the offseason. And then I've heard reports that Brock Purdy is the starting quarterback of the 49ers next year, no matter what. So, and I can't say that, look, I think the intrigue of putting Brady in there and just making one run at a Lombardi, it's there if you think he can get it done one last time. But Brock Purdy, I think, has showed you enough that you can build a franchise around him. And with Shanahan as the head coach being the offensive mastermind, you can do some great things with Brock Purdy. You could probably win a Super Bowl with him. So you're going to have to make that tough decision of, do we sit Purdy down for a year after he's played? I mean, you can't take it away from the kid. He's played extremely well. Coming into the situation he did, he's played very well. Do we set him down now and say, you played great, but we're going to go get Brady and try to make a Super Bowl run? Or do you look at him and go, he can be the quarterback of our future. He's proved that he can get it done. So let's go get it done with him. That's going to be a really, really tough decision for the 49ers to make.
What do you do if you're John Lynch?
If Brock Purdy plays well this weekend, which I don't see a reason why he doesn't.
Not if he doesn't play well. Give me the scenario if they lose this weekend. Because I agree with you. It's kind of hard to go. It's kind of hard to bench him if you get to the big dance.
Yeah.
Right? Unless you get blown out in the big dance and you're like, look, he's just not on the level. And again, I like Purdy. He's played well, but I think we got to keep it in perspective, folks. He beat a quarterback that is one of the most overrated in the game in Dak Prescott. And he had to beat out Geno Smith. And he's in a weak conference. And to be quite honest, I mean, it's really hard. Like, you're not being objective if you can't look at the day and say Dallas outplayed San Francisco. The difference was Dak turning it over. That was the difference. And Diggs not catching the interception down there on that defense.
And that 49ers defense, and they have consistently had a good defense. So if you look at it from this
but it was bad throws, Chop. It's not like they make great plays.
Right, but I mean, their defense has been very good. So if you're looking at it and going, hey, we have a good defense, maybe we add a couple more pieces on defense. We add, offensively, they have some weapons in San Fran. So maybe give him another weapon.
Oh, absolutely.
And let's build this thing around him. If I'm the 49ers, here's the thing. If you sign Tom Brady, it's a one and done, right? You're making one shot at a Super Bowl and he's done. Or do I look at it and go, we may have a quarterback we can build around for the next 10 years. Let's go see what we can get out of him. For me, I think I'd rather go that route. I'd rather build that around a kid that can be there long term versus a guy that's a one and done. I just think it's better for your franchise. if you have to look at it from that perspective as a business decision, I think I go with the young kid and try to build around it. Because there's no guarantee you're hoisting a Lombardi, right? There's no guarantee if you bring Tom Brady in that he's winning it all next year. There's just not. AFC's getting really good.
But let me ask you this. Who's got a better shot of beating them next year, Purdy or Brady?
What do you mean? Getting them to a Super Bowl?
Yeah. I mean, let's just be real.
I mean, you could say Brady, but here's the thing. Brady will be, 46 next year?
Yeah, but you don't have to lose Purdy. I mean, you got him locked up for the next 3 years.
I get that.
You know what I mean? He gets to sit there behind a year because, again, the window's only open so long.
And I understand
Brock Purdy, can you really sit here and say you think Brock Purdy can go out and throw for 400 yards and win a game if he needs to?
Oh, but I don't know because we haven't seen enough out of him. But here's my question, right? Here's my one question. Tom Brady will be 46 years old next year. At some point, that is going to catch up with him. And at this point, you're playing with fire on when that's going to happen. So if you sign him next year, he didn't look that great this year. He's making uncharacteristic mistakes. He didn't look like the Tom Brady we've seen in years past. So what's the drop off to next year? You know, there's been talks, well, he wants to play till he's 47.
I think whatever the drop off.
What's the drop off to 47?
I don't think there's any drop off because he's got Kyle Shanahan and those weapons and an offensive line. He has everything.
But eventually, time catches up with all of us, right? Can you play at a high level, at the highest level at that age? We don't.
Obviously, he could. He just threw for 300 some yards with a horrible team around him. Now he gets to have Kyle Shanahan.
Look, I know you're a Brady lover, and I respect him so much. He's always
feasted off the tight ends. I mean, just think, Kittle and Gronk both running down the seams. Hot dog.
You want him to win another Super Bowl so bad, and I get it. Look, hats off. He's the greatest to ever do it. But you have to be realistic in the fact that eventually there's going to be a drop-off. Or eventually he's going to take a big shot and that 46-year-old body ain't going to be able to recover like it has in the past.
Look, the 49ers navigated this same scenario just fine with when they had Montana and Young. I think they can handle Brady and Purdy.
Okay. I know you want him to go to the 49ers. I think he should retire. So we're on two different parts.
Not if he has a shot to go to San Francisco. That team is... I'll tell you this much. If Brady was the quarterback right now, there'd be no doubt in my mind they win the trophy this year. They win the chip if he was the quarterback this year.
I get it. I know.
No doubt in my mind. You're agreeing with that, right? I'm talking about this year.
Man. Even this year, it's hard to
with
say
that
he would want
to. And Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle and Deebo Samuel and Kyle Juszczyk.
I never thought the Giants would go up. I never thought the Giants would go up to Minneapolis and beat the Vikings. Shit happened. Like, you can sit here and say he would 100% win the trophy. You really have no idea. Would he have a good shot? Yeah. Do I think he'd 100% win it? No. He could go to Philly and get beat. You just don't know. There's too much unknown. If the last 2 weekends have taught me anything about playoff football, anything can happen. I never thought the Bengals would go into Buffalo and make the Bills look like a middle school team. However, they did. So, I never thought the Giants would go in and look that bad against Philly. I thought that would be a close game. I said I thought 4 to 7 points max because it's a division rival. They play each other close typically. Giants coming off a big win. I thought they'd have a little momentum, and they look like dog shit. So, it just...
Yeah, unfortunately, if the Giants take anything away from that, it's they cannot sign Daniel Jones to an extension.
Yeah.
All they're doing is prolonging the inevitable. Like, that Giants team way overachieved. Like, I'm not going to be at all surprised if they're back to 5-12, 6-11 next year. Are you?
I don't think with Dable you're ever going to be in those types of situations. I think he's a good enough coach. So, but I don't think Daniel Jones is the quarterback of the future. We've said, I mean, he had a great game last week. I'm still not taking anything away from it. He looked fantastic. But with Daniel Jones, he is going to have to play perfect, out of his mind football every game to give you a shot. And that's, that puts you in a tough
I'll tell
spot.
you what, if the Colts can't pull off Lamar, I still think the Colts should hire Eric Bieniemy. What about Eric Bieniemy and the Colts pick up the phone and call the Giants about trading for Daniel Jones?
I don't think Daniel Jones is the type of quarterback Bieniemy wants. I just don't think that's his type of guy. All right, let's look at some of these games real quick, and then we'll look at the conference championship game. So obviously the first game on Saturday, Jaguars at Chiefs. Chiefs get the win 27-20. Mahomes, high ankle sprain, goes out. Chad Henne comes in, 98-yard drive. This is why we talk about it all the time. It is very, very important to have a veteran quarterback as your backup. Somebody that can come in. The moment's not too big for him. We've seen this with Henne a couple times. We saw it a couple years ago against the Browns. Comes in, does enough to keep them in the game, get the win. He did the same thing here. Hats off to him. They ran the football. They helped him out a little bit. But he came in and managed the offense enough to keep them where they needed to be. So very important, because you never know. You could go out in the first snap of the first drive and your quarterback could go down. So it's extremely important to have a veteran backup, somebody who knows the offense and can come in and do enough to get you a win. And hats off to Chad Henne. He came in, he kind of hung around there. When Mahomes went off, I mean, he limped off the field. I told my wife, I said, he'll be back after the half. You're not going to see him in the second quarter. There's no reason, Henne, but you'll see him after the half. He comes out after the half. Obviously is not as mobile as Mahomes typically is, but it's Mahomes, and he's going to do enough to get you a win. I mean, beautiful little hop touchdown pass there. Obviously his leg's hurting him, but finds the back of the end zone. He's going to keep you around, but I thought Chad Henne did a hell of a job here. And I thought Jacksonville did really good. Trevor Lawrence looked good. They picked him off. They got a little pressure to him. Frank Clark with a big sack. But I thought they played well. I thought the Chiefs defense stepped up in this game. And they're playing better the last few games. They started off the season. They were playing really, really well. They were getting a lot of takeaways. They were getting to the quarterback a lot. They had a stretch of games in there where they didn't play as well. But they're starting to get hot again. They're starting to look good. And so that is encouraging going to play a Bengals team. The Chiefs defense is very young. I feel like they're very, very talented. Chris Jones is a monster. Frank Clark's playing much better. You got Snead, you got Bolton, you got Thornhill, McDuffie, Watson, some really, really young players that have a really, really high ceiling, but they're young. So they're going to make mistakes from time to time. But I feel like as a whole, that unit is playing much, much better. But I thought Jacksonville played a hell of a game, and I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be in a lot of these playoff games.
Whoa. So are you ready to put him in the top 5?
Not, but I told you I thought he was going to be in a lot
All
of
right,
these games.
who's in front of him?
Nah, we're not doing that right now. We don't have enough time. We'll do that later.
No,
Let's go.
I just want to hear the names. So I want you to list off your top quarterbacks till you get to Trevor Lawrence. Ready, go.
I think probably the top 5 I gave you was probably, it stays the same. Mahomes, Burrow. I still think Josh Allen's a better quarterback at this stage. I do. But I don't think Lawrence are that far off. I think you still got to keep Rodgers and Brady in there because they're both very, very talented quarterbacks. And then from that point, you could probably put him in there, number 6, number 7 somewhere. He's not far off. And I said that in the last episode. I think he's a solid top 10 quarterback. You could make an argument where he falls, but it's somewhere between 6 and 8, probably. But his leadership, I think, for me, is what's in the future going to set him aside from other players. After the game, stands in the tunnel, gives hugs, high fives to all the players that come through. Hey, great season. We're going to be back. Those are the types of things that separate quarterback. It's that type of mentality. It's that leadership. And the quarterbacks that we've seen in the past that have
I don't know how many.
What'd you say?
No, go ahead. You cut out for a second.
No, I just said The quarterbacks that have that kind of thing, that leadership, where a team's going to rally around them, that's going to be a difference maker for him. That's going to make him one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league. He's got that leadership. And hats off to him for showing that at a very, very young age. You know, hey, tough game, but a great season, and we're going to be back. And I believe they will be back. And especially with that head coach, I think Doug Peterson was the right move for Jacksonville. Him and Trevor Lawrence together are going to do some good things.
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, it's so hard to put a number on it, but there's no doubt in my mind Peterson and Lawrence together play in a Super Bowl or two.
Yeah, I'd see that.
I don't know how
Absolutely.
many they get to play in because again, let's just be fair. The AFC is murderer's row, right? Like you got Burrow, you got Mahomes, you got Allen. Those guys ain't going anywhere. If the Chargers ever get a coach, you got Herbert over there. You know, if the Ravens can get their jazz together and get talent around Lamar, or if Lamar can go to a team that's like, you know, Miami, what do they do? So it's hard to say how many, but I can definitely see the Jaguars making 2 Super Bowl appearances with that coach quarterback combo.
Yeah, I could see that. I think that's fair. Like I said, I thought they played really well. Arrowhead was loud. It was raucous. It was how it is for playoff games. And I think for me, looking a little ahead to next week, it's going to be very hard for Cincinnati to come in 2 years in a row and play in that environment and get a win. They're good enough to do it. I just lean towards, I think Kansas City is going to do enough in that game to get it done. It's probably not going to be pretty. It's probably going to be a field goal game either way, but I think the Chiefs find a way to get it done and punch their ticket. But it's going to be very close.
Yeah, it's going to be a great one. Going to be a great championship Sunday. And people always look at me like crazy when I say this, but championship Sunday with the AFC NFC championship game is my favorite weekend in football. I love, and my favorite day in football, rather. I enjoy championship Sunday more than I do the Super Bowl, believe it or not.
Yeah. Championship weekend's usually always really, really good.
So I enjoy it more in the Super Bowl. So, but look, we got the 4 teams. We got the 4 best teams, and that's all you can ask for.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we'll look at this one. I don't think we need to spend a whole lot of time talking about this one. Eagles, Giants. Eagles just destroy them, 38-7. Jalen Hurts came in 16 of 24, 154 yards, 2 touchdowns. Here's where the difference was, though. Philadelphia on the ground, 44 carries for 268 rushing yards. Just absolutely
incredible.
Dominated the Giants on the ground. When you can run
268 yards without Hurts rushing.
Well, he carried the ball a few times, 34 yards. He scampered into the end zone. But 112 yards from Gainwell, 90 yards from Sanders. Scott got in there for 32 yards. I mean, if you can run the football for over 200 yards, you're going to win the football game. Just because you dominate the time of possession, you dominate the clock, and you don't leave any time for anybody else. And unless you have an elite quarterback on the other side of the ball that can score real quick, you're going to dominate. You look at Daniel Jones, obviously he came back to earth, 15 of 27 for 135 yards and a pick. He was sacked 5 times. That Eagles defense was getting home all night. The 5 sacks, he was hit more than that. He was knocked down more than that. I mean, he was feeling that Philly pressure all night long. For them, 20 carries, 118 yards, and a touchdown. Eagles just too much. Well rested, great game plan, and they came out and just ran it down New York's throat.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants really had no shot. And again, shout out to Brian Dable. He did a great job, but the Giants overachieved. Now, the Eagles, just prelude to this Eagles 49ers thing. The 49ers got the best defense in football. But let me tell you something. They're not going to be able to pin their ears back and blitz the Eagles. And the greatest thing about the Eagles' win against the Giants is, again, Hurts didn't have to do a whole lot. They had 246 yards on the ground, and Hurts didn't have to test out the shoulder. He didn't have to run around. So, and look, running the football is more important in the playoffs than ever because weather's colder and you lean on a defense and wear them down. It's going to be really interesting. Can the Eagles run the ball on San Francisco?
Yeah.
Because if they can run the ball on San Francisco, now it becomes even harder for Purdy to get in a rhythm if the Eagles can control the time of possession.
Absolutely.
So I don't think, I mean, even though you got explosive players on both sides of the ball, I don't see this being a 34-31, 34-27 type game. I think both teams are in the 20s, you know what I mean? Or 27-17, something like that.
Yeah.
But it's going to be interesting. Can the Eagles run the ball? Because if the Eagles can run the football, San Fran's in trouble.
Yep.
If the Eagles can't run the football, then it's going to go San Francisco's way. Now, on the flip side of this, I feel like we keep saying this every week. And again, I like Brock Purdy a lot, but he got away with the skinny skin of his teeth today against Dallas. Look, the helmet bounce around catch, if Kittle doesn't make that and they punt there, and then they go down and end up scoring a touchdown on that drive, and Diggs had a chance on the deflection for the pick. I mean, that San Francisco-Dallas game, again, kudos to San Francisco. They found a way to get it done, but Dallas really outplayed them. They really did. But if Purdy, now on the road's different. I get it. He's won 7 in a row. He's looked dynamic. You're going into maybe the most hostile environment in the NFL. With, I don't want to call them the worst fans. I don't mean it. But just, Chiefs fans
a lot of people have in the
Chiefs
past.
fans are loud. Yeah, Chiefs fans are loud. Eagles fans will throw damn batteries at you. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
they
Chiefs
tried to beat
fans
up
aren't gonna
Santa
do
Claus,
that.
for God's sakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Chiefs
Kansas
fans
City,
are loud
even if you're
and
not a
rowdy,
Chiefs
but
fan,
they're nice.
Look, you've been to Arrowhead a ton, but look, Arrowhead, Lambeau, even if it's a rival, like we were at Lambeau for Bears, Packers, and Packers and Bears fans were the nicest in the world to each other.
Oh, yeah.
But look, Eagles fans just take this stuff to a different level.
Yeah,
So
they'll shank you in the
Purdy's
parking lot. You gotta take it easy.
I mean, good God. As a Redskin fan, right? I go to games around here and Dallas fans talk trash. Sometimes you'll see a little scuffles. Giants fans, they're pretty cool, chill.
Yeah.
But Eagles fans come to town, dude, and it's like, look out, right?
Yeah.
So Purdy's going to be in a situation he's never been in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And again, San Francisco's going to have to be able to. I really think this boils down to who runs the football better. I mean, actually, both of these, we just talked about this with Bengals Chiefs, right? Both games, whoever can run the football and whoever can stop the run are the two teams we're going to see Super Sunday. Can we agree with that?
Looking at the Chiefs game, the weather forecast, 25 degrees, chance of snow, 20-mile-an-hour wind. You're going to have to run the football. Like, in that Chiefs-Bengals game, you're going to have to run the ball. Because 20-mile-an-hour wind, and you're talking about with that wind chill in the negatives, you're going to have to run the football. So it's going to be whoever runs the football better. And the Chiefs, this is the thing about Kansas City. Like, I love Mahomes, and I love watching him sling
big ass beard of yours and a ski mask, because you're going to need a ski mask if it's that cold, choppy.
Yeah, I got a camo, like, I don't know, whole face covering. Don't worry, I'll bundle up. This ain't my first rodeo.
Because if you spill a little bit of beer on that beard, that thing's going to turn into a shank knife on your face.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll take care. This isn't my first rodeo. I've done this before.
Just worried about you, little brother.
Yeah, we've been to games in the single and negatives before. But I'll say, the thing with Kansas City, and I love watching Mahomes sling, and he had a sidearm pass in that game that was just absolutely filthy. Led his receiver, just put it right on the money. But Kansas City, when they run the ball, they ran it for 145 yards in this game. They're very effective. Pacheco will run right over you. You're going to probably have Hilaire back for this game. And McKinnon, is also good. Like, they can run the ball effectively. So Kansas City has the pieces to run the ball. It's just whether or not they will. If they decide to run it, that offense is going to be just fine, even with Mahomes at 90%, because he's still going to get his. He's still going to find Kelsey and Schuster. He's still going to make some plays. But if you can run the ball, I think that's really the key to success for Kansas City in this game. And it frustrates me sometimes they get away from the run altogether, but when they run it, they're very effective. So if they can stick to that a little bit, I think the Chiefs can punch their ticket.
So real quick, free agents for Dallas. It's up here on ESPN. I'm watching SportsCenter SVP. Schultz, Tony Pollard, Van Der Esch, Noah Brown, Anthony Barr, Dante Fowler, Hankins, Donovan Wilson. I mean, they got a ton of free agents, man. They got issues. Yeah. I got to ask you this because I was just sitting here and it just entered my mind as I watched Dak throw horrible interceptions, right?
Not very good.
23 of 37, 206 yards, 1 TD, 2 picks, 51% QBR, which Purdy, 53.1% QBR. Again, it's not like Purdy won the game, folks, right?
No,
He's
but
got
he did
Kyle
enough.
Shanahan and
He
weapons.
didn't make mistakes. He didn't cost them the game.
He
That's
didn't
the
throw
difference.
again, it's not hard to play quarterback for the 49ers. If you're Jerry Jones and you're going to bed tonight, because after the game, he said that he felt like
pissed.
they had the advantage at quarterback. And I'm going to make an outlandish thing right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just got to go with me.
Uh-oh.
You got to re-sign Schultz and Pollard, and you got to get those defensive guys locked up, and then you got to keep drafting defense.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're Jerry Jones on the plane ride home, do you pick up your cell phone? And do you say, I mean, if you're Jerry Jones, because look, all the man wants for you, and unfortunately, he's getting up there, is all he wants before he dies is a Super Bowl. Do you get on your cell phone on the plane ride on your jet back to Dallas and make 3 phone calls? And the first one is to Steve Bisciotti, the owner of the Ravens, and say, look, I'll give you Dak and 2 first-round picks for Lamar.
Yeah. Lamar's a much better quarterback. I'll tell you that right now.
If Lamar Jackson's quarterback in Dallas, if he's quarterback in Dallas wins that game today.
Yep.
They win that game today.
I'll 100% give that to you.
The second call. Do you pick up the phone if Bisciotti tells you to go kick rocks and you tell him, of course, hey, think about it at least, right, old buddy?
Yeah. Old buddy, old pal.
Kind of, what, or ask the thing, okay, Dak and what else? What else would it take? Right? And really push Bisciotti there. What else would it take? Because Jones would give Lamar everything he wanted and more.
Yeah.
All right. So I think you got to make that call. And then the second call is if it doesn't go anywhere, you don't feel like it has any life to it. The second call on your plane ride home is it to Tom.
See, here's the thing with Dallas. Here's the thing. We talk about Tom. It has to be the perfect situation. Dallas
I get that.
Is not
I don't think
perfect,
Dallas is.
It's not even close to the perfect situation. Like, if I'm Tom, thanks, but no thanks. Look, for Tom Brady, if you're going to come back and play, it has to be San Francisco. That's it. That's your only option.
Mm-hmm.
That is the only place that gives you a realistic shot to lift a Lombardi. If you cannot go to San Fran, you hang it up because you're not getting to a Super Bowl with another.
I agree with that.
That situation has to be perfect. So if he doesn't get,
I would say Miami, but the AFC's too rough sledding.
Yeah, and I don't
so
think
I'm with you. San Francisco.
I don't think they're moving off to it. I really do think Tom's only shot is San Francisco.
But I'm just saying. So Jerry, you make the call to Bisciotti to try to trade for Lamar.
Yep.
But is your second call to Brady? I'm not saying it's right for Brady. I'm just saying. I mean, it proves Dak's never going to get you there.
Or
I'm just asking the question.
Or Crazy thought.
Are you going to say my number 3 before I say it?
I don't know,
You're
maybe.
going to
Let's
say
see.
what I'm thinking.
Maybe. I don't know. I may not say what you, but I might.
Yeah, you
Maybe
are.
you call Green Bay.
You're going to say what
and you say Aaron
Yes,
Rodgers
you
and
did.
McCarthy.
We are
You
brothers.
reunite.
You are brothers.
I'm just saying.
We are brothers.
I mean,
That's where
because
I was going.
Aaron Rodgers with McCarthy look like a very different quarterback. Maybe that pair needed to stay together.
Yeah. You were saying what I was thinking. You were saying what I was thinking. That's exactly what I swear. I was just thinking to myself, it makes too much sense for both sides.
It does. I'll give you that. It truly does. It gives Green Bay a quarterback that they can build around that's younger. And it gives Dallas a shot at probably a 2-year window to go get a Lombardi. And it gets Aaron back with McCarthy, who I think knew how to get the best out of Aaron Rodgers, attitude and on the field. Obviously, it shows from their time together.
And Dallas has weapons for him. Dallas has weapons for him.
Yep.
They would have to re-sign Schultz. And look, they re-signed Schultz, and then Dallas has probably got to look at where they're at in the draft. And they can probably draft Mayer, the tight end of Notre Dame. He's probably gone in the top 20 picks. But they could easily get
Chiefs jersey
Kincaid.
so bad.
They're not. He's not going to be there. They could easily get Kincaid. He should be there, the tight end of Utah. And Kincaid, the tight end of Utah, he's just as good as Mayer. He's just as good.
Yeah.
Mayer may be a little bit better, but still,
a little bit better.
just a little bit better. And the other Georgia tight end, McMichael's there, right? So they could get one of those tight ends, even if they didn't re-sign Schultz.
Yeah.
And just tell Rodgers, our first pick, we're drafting a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for you. And I'm going to go out and I'm going to get another receiver to go with Lamb and Gallup. Right? And maybe another offensive lineman. I'm going to, you got Pollard. We're going to re-sign him. Zeke can still do a couple things for you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just think, actually, I'm talking myself into this.
It really is.
Forget Brady. Rodgers and Jackson. Jerry Jones. Somebody get me Jerry Jones' cell phone number right now. I'm not even a Cowboys fan, but I feel like I should help this old guy out.
Yeah.
It makes too much sense.
It makes too much sense for both sides, right? Aaron wants a shot at another Super Bowl. I don't think Green Bay is going to give him what he needs to get there. And Dallas has some pieces. I mean, the defense is very, very good. And they have enough offensive
Dallas
weapons
is Super Bowl material with a quarterback.
Yeah. So, and I do think him and McCarthy back together would be good. Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think you got to do it.
That could be an interesting.
I mean, forget the Brady thing. He's got to call Bisciotti, and he's got to call.
Yeah, because Brady's not going to
Thompson
Dallas.
still there.
Yeah, Brady's not going to Dallas.
No.
But
Jerry's got to do something.
Dallas. Yeah, because Dak's not the answer. Dak has shown you time and time again he's not. He's
not the guy.
Nope.
And
we
makes
talked
sense.
about that. I mean, obviously we didn't have the podcast then, but we talked about that at the time when they were talking about giving Dak that contract. Dak wasn't the guy then. He's still not the guy. Like, it's. I mean, I get quarterbacks are hard and you got to pay somebody, but
it still fits for the other franchises too, because Baltimore has a mobile quarterback in Dak, right?
Yep.
And the Packers got somebody. Look, Dak. Maybe a change of scenery helps Dak too. Look, Dak's going to get in the playoffs. I mean, I'm not saying he's garbage.
Dallas is a really hard place though too. Like,
I'm just saying Dak isn't the guy that I can see getting you to a championship game consistently.
No.
And if he gets there, I definitely can't see him winning one. But I look at it, okay, Dak at this stage of Dak's career, with those young receivers in Green Bay, he would get in there and put in the time.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
It makes sense for both sides.
Yep. Agreed.
Makes sense.
Be interesting to see Rodgers in Dallas. That'd be dangerous. Because look, Aaron Rodgers still got some left in the tank. I mean, what is he? How old is he now? 40? Is he 40? 39, 40? Somewhere in there?
They're like 38, 39.
38, 39. I mean, he's still got some years left.
Jerry Jones, if you're listening, you're probably not, but some diehard Cowboy fans send this to him. You got to call Bisciotti and trade Dak and whatever else they want for Lamar.
I wouldn't even
trade
try
Dak.
that one. I'd go straight for Rodgers.
Mm,
I'd go straight for Rodgers.
I still think I go Lamar first.
I'd go Rodgers
Just because you could have him for a decade. But yeah,
But-
Rodgers makes a lot of sense.
But
man.
Rodgers makes more
I
sense.
mean,
He
Rodgers
knows-
makes a lot of sense.
He knows McCarthy. It's easy to get him in there, plug and play. I feel like you're going to get a quicker pickup with Rodgers with those weapons than you are Lamar. It's going to take a little bit more time for Lamar to learn that system, what McCarthy likes, what he doesn't like. Or Rodgers already knows that. I'd go Rodgers first. Yeah, I don't know. Text old Jerry. Tell him what you think. Worth a shot. All right, let's look at these other two games.
I love it,
obviously-
man.
I do too. Obviously, we talked about this one already, but we'll talk about it a little more here. Bengals at Bills. Bengals just absolutely manhandled the Bills 27-10. This was, man, I love seeing football games in the snow. I just think it's fun, right? Football is meant to be played cold, snow, and the Bengals get it done. They ran the ball effectively. Here's the difference maker. Obviously, Burrow looked good, 23 of 36 for 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. Joe Burrow's going to get you to the playoffs every year. He's going to get you, obviously, he's got you to 1 Super Bowl. He's going to get you to a few more. He's going to win one. I don't know if it's this year, but he is going to get at least one before he's done, maybe more. But here's the big difference, I think, in this game, especially with the conditions. Cincinnati, 34 carries for 172 yards and a touchdown. Buffalo on the ground, 19 carries, 63 yards and a touchdown. They didn't even try to run the football. Josh Allen, 25 of 42, 265 yards and a pick. He did not throw a touchdown in this game. They asked him to throw it over 40 times. Instead of running the football in conditions that beg for you to run the football. I don't understand the game plan out of Buffalo. I get you got Josh Allen. It's awesome having a flashy quarterback that can sling it. However, sometimes, especially in the playoffs, run the football. It's not a hard concept. It's not difficult. I don't understand why so many teams struggle with it. But Buffalo just refused to try to run the football. And so I think that really, really hurt them. And we talk about this all the time with Buffalo, and it's part of their problem. They are going to ask Josh Allen to do everything. Everything. It's all on him. So if he has a bad day, there's no like running game that's going to pick him up because they don't do that. It's Josh Allen or bust in every game. And so that is going to be a problem for Buffalo going forward. They have to learn how to help him. And it seems like lately they refuse to do that. It's all up to him. If he plays well, we win. If he has a little bit of an off day, we lose. I don't understand it.
Old Coach Mick do not run.
Yeah, I don't. And I mean, look, I love Andy Reid for the Chiefs, but he does a lot of that same shit too that just irritates me to death.
He does it Sunday. He's going to lose.
Yeah.
You'll be sitting up there, freezing your butt off, saying to yourself, the Chiefs should be going to the Super Bowl, and we're not because we wanted to get in a shootout with Joe Burrow.
Yep. I really hope the Chiefs shock everyone and they just run it down Cincinnati's throat. I really do. I hope that's the game plan. I'm going to run it until you stop me.
Back. This is great.
Yep. All right. So do we want to talk about this game anymore? Obviously, Burrow looked great. Allen, I mean, he puts up 265 yards. You're just asking him to do too much.
No, we don't need to talk about it. Hey,
All
I'm
right,
going to get into giving out, just as little props and stuff. I'm going to start this on the Wednesday showdown. And I want to get out of football, but both odds to win and matchups on some little golf. I want to tiptoe in some golf now.
Yeah, I've been dipping my toe in the old soccer pool too.
Golf and NASCAR. I'm going to add to our repertoire for all of our winners.
Yep, I'm working to add some soccer in for all the soccer fans out there. I've been playing around with that. Actually, doing pretty good. But still need to kind of get it to where I feel comfortable with what I'm giving out before we get there. So Still got some work to do, but it's on my list. All right, we'll look at this Cowboys game real quick. Cowboys obviously lose to the 49ers 19-12. Brock Purdy, 19 of 29 for 214 yards. Not an awful day. I mean, he didn't turn the ball over. That's one of the biggest things. San Francisco, 32 carries, 113 yards, and a touchdown. So not lighting the world on fire. This really was a defensive struggle. You look at Dak Prescott, 23 of 37 for 206. One touchdown, 2 picks. Kind of talked about this a little earlier when we talked about in the last episode. This was going to be what quarterback didn't make mistakes. Dak made 2 of them. And then just some really bad throws from him. Couple drops too. And then they just did not run the ball effectively. 22 carries, 76 yards. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else really to say. Dallas had every opportunity to win. We've kind of beaten that one to death. Dallas probably should win this game. With Aaron Rodgers or Lamar Jackson, they do. So, Dallas.
Aaron Rodgers, I like it. Get on the horn, Jerry.
Yep. All right, we will jump to conference. Obviously, we've talked about these games already a ton. For me, Bengals Chiefs. Weather is going to play a factor
break down
in
the
this
conference
game.
Wednesday.
Oh, okay. You want to do that? You don't want to talk about it a little bit? Give them a little nugget.
I mean, go ahead and give a quick little nugget, little preview.
Okay, so Bengals at Chiefs. Right now, the line that I can see, it opened 3. It's down to Chiefs -1. So obviously, money coming in for the Bengals right now. Not that I can say I'm surprised. I think by the time we get to game time, this is going to be a pick 'em or even a slight edge to Cincinnati. As we go on, we learn more about Mahomes' injury throughout the week, how he is practicing, what he looks like, how that ankle is healing. This is something that he has had to deal with before, high ankle sprain, same foot. So he does have some experience with this. Expect the training staff to throw everything at that ankle this week to try to get him ready. He's going to play. We just don't know what percentage Mahomes you're going to get. I'll say a 90% Mahomes is better than a lot of quarterbacks. So it'll just be interesting to see how that heals. Weather is going to play a factor in this game. It's going to be very, very cold. 25 degrees at the kickoff, 20-mile-an-hour wind with a chance of snow. It's not going to be pleasant to sit out and watch this one. I will, however, brave the elements for my Chiefs. I think the Chiefs get the win here. I think it's a close game, field goal. But I do think at home, it's going to be rowdy. It's going to be raucous. Do I think the Bengals are going to go into Arrowhead 2 years in a row in an AFC title game and win? I don't. But I do think it's going to be a struggle. The Chiefs are going to have the perfect game plan, and they're going to have to run the football effectively or they will lose. That's kind of my 2 cents about that one. 49ers at Eagles. Right now, the line I can see is Eagles -2.5. I haven't looked at the weather forecast for this one. I'm going to guess Philly in January. Probably going to be cold. Jalen Hurts and that Eagles offense have proved they can put up points. That defense also looks very good. Brock Purdy's going to have his hands full. However, 49ers also have a really good defense. So I agree with you, John. I don't think this is going to be a 35-30 shootout type game. I could very well see this being a 2017 game, 24-17, somewhere in that range. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter because I think San Francisco's defense is going to keep them in it. And I think Purdy's going to do enough to keep them in it. The biggest thing is he can't make mistakes and turn the ball over. If they don't do that, 49ers are going to have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see where the line takes us, man. I want to see where the line takes us. Again, Philly opened up 1.5. It's up to 2.5. And then, like you said, Chiefs opened up 2.5. It's down to -1. So a lot of Eagle money coming in. But again, a lot of this early money is your people, sharps, and then people that bet bigger, and then your people that typically live in Vegas, right? They're there, they're collecting at the window, the line comes out. There's a lot of people that feel like if they bet early, they get the better of the line. Me, I'm opposite. I want to let everybody mess with the line and then get it where I want it, right? In a case in point, had 2 college basketball games go the other way where I would have been on the right side, got a win and a push. Instead, I got or no, I would have got 2 wins. Instead, I had a loss and a push because I got the worst of the line. So I think as you look at it, I just want to see how the line moves. There is a little bit of work when you get to Championship Sunday. Again, it's really hard unless you have a dark horse and a high line. Both of these games are going to be less than a field goal, so you're really looking to pick the winner. And it makes it extremely difficult. Again, that's why I always say they don't pay you out more this game than they do week 3 or week 10. So, we're going to treat it the same. If I can find a good opportunity there, I will. So, I'll try to put us in the best possible situation that I can to make money next weekend in the NFL.
Perfect. With that, we'll get a little John's betting corner. You got any nuggets? I mean, you gave us a bunch of stuff in the beginning, but you got anything like a little send off for us tonight?
Yeah, just remember, you gotta ask yourself, what am I trying to achieve? And if you want to achieve making 6 figures a year, this isn't a sales pitch. It just, again, I gave the record before the show. It is what it is. But you have got to be disciplined, and you can't ride the emotional roller coaster. It would have been very easy for me today to say, let me get back on the horse. You know what I mean? Let me bounce back from college basketball. If I had given out college basketball, I'd have been 0-2. So sometimes the best bet you can make as a gambler is no bet, right? Mm-hmm. You can't.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you just need to take a breath and reset. Now, Saturday, I sent it in because we were 4-0 Friday. I was high on cloud 9. And you know what? It wouldn't have been a bad day if I didn't give the plays out on the overnights. And I learned my lesson. I'll never do that again. So we probably won't play many games at the noon Eastern tip-off on a Saturday again for the rest of the season, unless, we just won't. You got to have rules. That's why I'm successful, as I have rules for myself. So I learned that the wrong way. But again, what are you trying to achieve and how are you trying to get there? Money management important. What you're betting is important. And how you react to both winning streaks and tough weeks where you're losing. Because again, you can't win 52. If anybody tells you they're going to win 52 weeks out of a year and they're going to pick 80%, they're lying. And again, that article I told you about, they're probably not even betting the games themselves.
Probably
it's not. Just an industry that is getting more and more exposure. Only 18 states are legal. Now, every game you look at, it's on the bottom line of every ticker, ESPN or Fox Sports or CBS Sports. It's growing so much, and everybody wants a piece of the pie, but the problem is everybody's losers. 90% of them's losers, and 90% of them are TV personalities. It's not real. They're selling you fakeness, right? So at least I can stand out there and say for what it is and say, hey, when I lose, and sometimes I dwell on the losses with you guys just as much as the win, because I want to use it as a tool to say, look, this is the reality. This is why the record's so impressive. This is why you have to stick to the plan, because one day can't determine it. So again, I'll put us in the best situation I can next week for football. But right now it's about college basketball and hockey and NBA, trying to pick games up. And I want to be a little conservative coming out the gates this week. Just because, make sure I have my mind right. Again, I'm really proud of myself that I didn't give out any college hoops today. If I did, I'd have been 0-2. So, look, again, dial in. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And just like the stock market, there's ups and downs, but at the end of it, I'm like your 401k. I'll look real nice by the time it's all done. But and it depends on when you hop in. I get some of you may have just hopped in and been like, man, this guy's toting all this stuff. I hadn't seen it. Again, that's why it's important not to bet erratic so you can stay in the game, because that's the hardest thing really about gambling. Picking winners is really tough, but I know a lot of guys that can pick winners but can't manage their money. And then there's guys that can't pick winners and blow money, right? Like I told you, I told you the one buddy, he wins 30 grand. Next thing you know, he loses it in 2 hours at the blackjack table, right? Money management's important and discipline's important. And that's what you get with us. That, and now you get me talking to you almost every day. because of stupid CRM. But yeah,
we'll get it fixed. Don't worry about it. All right. Well, I think that's
shout
the show
out
for us.
Victor, Alec, David, Cameron, Miles, all you guys, Ryan V, Ryan G.
Yeah, Brett,
Appreciate
Michael,
all the support
Tony,
from our winners,
Todd.
man. Michael, Brett, Tony, Brian that just signed up. Just appreciate you guys, man. I love y'all, and it'll pay off. Trust me, it'll pay off.
Yeah, we appreciate the support so much. We thank you so much. And we're going to keep putting in the work for you and keep bringing this podcast to you twice a week. Hopefully you have fun with it. I know we do. I think it's a show for us tonight, but I hope you guys have a great week. We'll be back with another episode on Thursday to break down conference championship weekend in full. I'm excited to watch the Chiefs in another AFC title game. This will be 5 years in a row. I've gotten to watch the boys, so excited for this. And I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll be back. So thank you so much for everything. Thank you for the continued support. It means the world to us. And enjoy.
Love you, my winners.